Namo Narayana and welcome back to our reading of the Sannyasa Upanishad. Today we're starting the second part, which actually takes us through the end of the Upanishad, but it's a rather long bit, so we're going to be breaking this up. That person alone is entitled to renunciation who has undergone the 40 purificatory rites, has detachment from all worldly things, has acquired purity of mind, has burnt out desires, envy, intolerance, and egotism, and is equipped with the 4 disciplines of spiritual life. Having resolved on renunciation, he who does not embrace it shall perform the penance alone as an atonement. Thereafter he is entitled to renounce the world. One who, having resolved on renunciation and later denounces it, one who supports a fallen ascetic as if he were genuine, and one who throws obstacles in the path of those desiring renunciation, these 3 classes of people are to be known as fallen. Now the following people are not entitled to renunciation: a eunuch, a fallen man, a maimed person, a woman, a deaf person, a child, a dumb person, a heretic, an informer, a student who has not completed his studies, one belonging to the Vaishnava sect, an ardent Shaivite, a salaried man, a man without precipice, and one without ritual fire. Even if they renounce the world, they are not entitled to instruction in the great scriptural texts. The son of one who has fallen from aesthetic grace, one having disease of the nails, one who is brown-toothed, a consumptive, as well as a deformed person, these are never entitled to renunciation. One should never allow renunciation to those who have just settled as householders, those who have committed great sins, those who have lost caste due to non-performance of the principal purificatory rites, and the accursed. Again, one should never allow renunciation to one who is devoid of religious observances, religious acts, penance, charity, offering, oblations in the ritual fire, and the study of Scripture, and those fallen from truth and purity. These do not deserve to renounce, and no one can dispense with the due order except one sorely afflicted. The person entitled to renounce should discard his tuft reciting Om Sava, saying the mantra, "The sacred thread shall not remain externally, grant me fame, strength, spiritual wisdom, dispassion, and intelligence." He shall snap the sacred thread and leave it in the waters along with his garment and waistband, muttering Om Savaha. Then he should repeat thrice, "I have renounced." Seeing a Brahmana who has renounced the world, the sun moves from its place thinking, "This person will reach Brahman breaking through my disk." That wise man who says, "I have renounced," raises to glory 60 generations of his family before him and 60 generations after him. All the defects born of bad sons and all the defects born of bodily weakness, the prayasa fire at the time of renouncing shall burn out, just as the fire of chaff does to gold. Reciting the mantra, "Friend, guard me," the renouncer shall accept the emblematic staff. The ascetic shall bear a staff which shall be of bamboo, smooth, whole with the bark, of even joints, grown in holy ground, and clean of all defects. It shall be unscarred by forest fire, uninjured by worms, shining with its joints, of a length reaching up to the nose, head, or of the eyebrows. Close association is always enjoined between the staff and the person. A wise man shall not move without the staff a distance 3 times that of an arrow throw. Reciting the mantra, "You are the receptacle of water which sustains the world. Never say nay to me. You who are always agreeable to all," he should receive the water vessel, and invested with the yogic garment as an aid in meditation, he shall go about in an agreeable frame of mind. Give up the concepts of righteousness and unrighteousness, dharma and adharma. Give up both truth and untruth. Having given up both truth and untruth, discard that by which you abandon all these. Ascetic due to dispassion, ascetic due to spiritual wisdom, ascetic due to wisdom and dispassion, and ascetic due to renunciation of action, these are the 4 kinds of ascetics obtained. This is how it is. He is the ascetic due to dispassion who has become indifferent to sensory objects that are seen or heard of, and who has renounced the world due to the influence of good actions done previously. He alone is the ascetic due to jhana, who, being dead to worldly life due to the true knowledge of Scripture and listening to the experiences of the people in sin and the goodness, and who, having discarded lingering attachment to the body, Scripture, and the world, and considering as worthless like vomit all worldly actions, possesses the fourfold discipline in spiritual life, and then renounces the world. Having studied in the prescribed manner all Scripture and experienced all vicissitudes of life, he is the ascetic due to jhana and the dispassion, who has his body alone left to him by meditation on the nature of the self, due to jhana and dispassion, and then renounces and becomes unclad as he was when he was born. Having completed the period of celibate studentship, having become a householder, and then embracing the stage of forest life, he renounces the world only in order to observe the order of the stages of life, even though without dispassion. He is the ascetic who renounces action. Renunciation is of 6 kinds, and the ascetics are called Kuticaka, Bahudaka, Hamsa, Paramahamsa, Turyatita, and Advadhuta. The Kuticaka ascetic has a tuft and sacred thread, bears a staff and water vessel, wears a loincloth and patched garment, is devoted to the service of father, mother, and preceptor, is equipped with a vessel, spade, sling, etc., alone, is addicted to eating food in one place, wears on the forehead a perpendicular mark of white sandal, and holds a threefold emblematic staff. The Bahadaka ascetic wears tuft, etc., a patched garment, and 3 horizontal lines of holy ash on his forehead, and is similar in all respects to the Kuticaka ascetic, except that he subsists on 8 mouthfuls of food gathered as alms from 8 houses, as a bee does honey. The Hamsa ascetic wears matted hair, puts on the forehead the mark of either the horizontal lines of holy ash or the perpendicular one of sandal, subsists on food gathered as alms without restriction, and wears a piece of loincloth. The Paramahamsa ascetic is devoid of tuft and sacred thread, receives alms in the vessel of his hands, wears a single loincloth, has a single patched garment, 1 bamboo staff, either wears a single garment or is smeared with holy ashes, and has discarded all possessions and attachments. The Turyatita ascetic subsists of fruits, receiving them in his mouth like a cow. If he eats cooked rice, he receives them as alms from 3 houses. He has his body alone left to him without any possessions and attachment, is unclad, and treats his body as if it were a corpse. The Advadhuta ascetic has no fixed rules. He eats food like a python as and when he gets it from persons of all castes, except those who are fallen or accursed, and is ever intent on meditation on the nature of the self. And we will pause here. So what we just read is actually reflected in some other Upanishads. These rules and regulations for the different types of ascetics are laid down elsewhere. So in the beginning of this, I read something that I'm sure you heard. I heard it, and I almost paused the reading to comment on it. It's something I've read before, and I don't like it. So those who cannot renounce. A eunuch. Why? Why can't a eunuch renounce? Because they've had their balls chopped off? Or in the traditional form, they were servants? So, come on. Maybe they might want to renounce more than anyone. A fallen person. So a fallen person has proven that they're not good with renouncing. A maimed person. So I cut my hand. Now I can't renounce. So all the spiritual stuff I do is now over because I cut my hand. That's so foolish. A woman. Yep, that's the thing I heard that I didn't like. And I've seen some people say, oh, the Upanishads are so great to women. But over and over they say women cannot be renunciants. They just don't have the temperament and the brain for it, according to other things. A deaf person can't renounce. So Helen Keller couldn't renounce. Or someone who maybe loses their hearing can't renounce? That's foolish. I just disagree with this. A child, okay, they're not mature enough. A dumb person, not mature enough. A heretic, okay, they're like a fallen person. An informer is a cheat. A student has not completed a study. So that would be, so many of the self-declared modern New Age gurus today, actually. A salaried teacher. Ethics, maybe? I don't know. A man without a ritual fire. So he just can't carry out the deeds. So the last one is a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava cannot renounce. Wow. Wow, so only Shivites can. Because the implication is, I guess, Vaishnavas don't know the truth. Yeah, there's some politics going on here. That just, wow. Yeah, no. And there's a few more here that we will go into. The son of a fallen man. So if my dad fell, I'm now screwed, no matter what I do. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. One having disease of the nails. I don't know what that is. Ingrown toenail or something. Again, have you seen my toes from running? It's not a disease, but they're destroyed. Maybe you might look at them and think I have some fungus, but I don't. Would you condemn me because of that? A deformed person. So a deformed person can't renounce. But yet that might be someone who might want to. They may not have a place in the world and they want to renounce. Just because a body part grew wrong isn't their fault. I'm assuming though this is connected to karma though. So supposedly you're deformed and that's your karma. You did something bad. So now it's your punishment. But you've already been deformed. Why be punished more by not being allowed to renounce and purge the bad karma? I just that bothered me. That these are limits I don't agree with. Basically, it feels like Freemasonry, which says it welcomes all good men to become better men. Doesn't welcome women because supposedly they're not smart enough, which is crap. And it doesn't welcome bad men. Though maybe bad men want to improve themselves. A bad man likely is more desirous of improving himself than a good man. A good man doesn't feel he needs to improve, he's already there. So why would a good man join Freemasonry? To just boost his ego. That's all it is. But the bad man who actually you want to do better and who Freemasonry might open the doors to help, they don't want them as members. And I say this as a former Freemason. Yeah, that to me is backwards. Basically, you just want good people in your club.